When you first pair up Masso, you're going to see a flashing e-stop indication. This usually means that you haven't installed your e-stop switch yet. Now, e-stop switches are usually quite large, brightly coloured, easy to operate, usually a bit more difficult to release. In this case, you have to twist it to release. That's just so you can't accidentally release it by mistake. They're usually located in easy to reach places around the machine, or on a pendant, or on a CNC console like this one here. The most important part of the e-stop switch is how you wire it. You must wire this here as a fail-safe circuit. What do I mean by that? Well, by using the normally closed contact inside the switch, it means that should the switch fail, or should the wiring between the switch and Masso break, the e-stop alarm will come up and it will not allow you to proceed until such time as you have rectified the issue. Now, there are several ways of wiring e-stop on Masso. It all depends on whether you're using a pendant or not. So in the first scenario we're going to look at, we're just going to wire up a single external e-stop switch. So I've pre-wired this e-stop switch with 2 wires. Now, if we take a look at the circuit diagram for an external emergency stop switch, you can see that it connects from the positive of the power supply to e-stop pin 2. That's from here to e-stop pin 2. I'll just quickly make those connections. E-stop pin 2 to our power supply positive. You can see that as soon as I connected it, the error light stopped flashing, and if I press the e-stop button, it starts flashing again. Looking at the screen, when we release the e-stop indication disappears on the screen, and when we press the e-stop again, it comes back on. If you wish to add a second emergency stop switch, simply place it in series with the first as shown in the diagram here. Again, make sure you use the normally closed contact of your emergency stop switch. If you've connected your new e-stop switch and find that it's running backwards, that is, you've got an e-stop indication when it's released and it disappears when you press the button, then most likely what's happened is you've inverted the e-stop input. To check this, go to the F1 screen and enter the password HTG in capital letters. Now, if you check the e-stop indication here, you can see whether it's inverted or not. Under the invert column, it should say no. If it doesn't, simply highlight and press the space bar, and that will toggle it between yes and no. So now that I have the external e-stop switch wired in and it's working fine, there's a problem. The e-stop button here on the pendant just doesn't work. So let's now take a look at how to wire an e-stop if you're using a pendant with Masso. You can see from this diagram that when we plug our pendant into Masso, e-stop pin 1 goes down through the connector and into our pendant, through the e-stop switch, back through the connector, and connects to e-stop pin 2. From this we can see that if we want to get the e-stop switch in our pendant working, we need to connect e-stop pin 1 to the positive of our power supply and leave e-stop pin 2 disconnected. I've now run a wire from the positive of my power supply all the way over to e-stop pin 1, and I press the e-stop button. We get an e-stop alarm, and when I release it, the e-stop alarm clears. If you want to add one or more external e-stop switches, put them between e-stop 1 and the positive of the power supply. Now, a couple of last things to know about the Masso e-stop. When you first start Masso, you'll see a yellow flashing e-stop indication on the screen here. That indicates Not that there's a button pressed, but the fact you need to test your e-stop before you can run a program. Simply press the e-stop button and release it, and the indication will disappear. It's a safety feature built into Masso. If, however, when you start Masso you find you have a flashing red e-stop indication, it means that one or more of your e-stop switches are currently set and you need to release it. Simply go around them, find the ones that are set, release them, and the indication will return to normal. Now another thing, there's a special relay output 7, that is dedicated to the e-stop. You can connect a relay to that and use that relay to activate or deactivate various circuits whenever the e-stop switch is pressed. However, we won't be covering that in this video. And that's about it. That's all there is to setting up an e-stop switch on Masso. I hope you found this useful, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.